Hello there, my name is Michael Gadlin and I'm inviting you into my art studio, and I'm excited to show you some of my work, how I became an artist, and how long I've even been doing it. So I actually grew up in Denver, probably just a lot like many of you did. I went to Park Hill Elementary School, which has been renamed, so I think you're in that building as we speak, right? And then I went to high school at East High School in Denver. That's where I graduated. So I started doing art pretty much since elementary school and into high school. I am excited to show you around the studio, and we'll kind of just walk around. So as you can see, this piece behind me is, well, it's kind of obvious, it's a face. And I love to do abstract artwork. I love to make things out of my own imagination and kind of combine them with things that are real. So I use faces a lot of times with these bright colors and really interesting simple shapes and all these combination of things that just kind of, I don't know, make me feel good and I think look really cool. So let's see. Yeah, I'll walk you around another part of the studio. How about that? So here's kind of facing another end of my studio where I have all of my paints on display. You'll kind of see my tools. You'll even see my big iMac computer that I do a lot of my graphic design work on. I do that for a living too. I'm a graphic designer. I do websites, I do logos, I do even print work. I do a lot of this graphic design work for other artists. I build websites for them. And I have a lot of fun doing that. For me, doing graphic design or web design or logo design is just another extension of my love for creating images or solving creative problems. That's what artists do, right? Yeah, let me go over here. There, I don't know if this thing will follow me, but I'm gonna show you. So these are some really cool tools I love using. So they're kind of different. You're probably thinking, well, you know, where's the brushes? Yeah, I mean, I paint with brushes sometimes, but my artwork is always about what are the unique kind of tools I can use that are the most interesting, and for me, make the most interesting marks on the canvas with the paint. I mean, you can put paint on with almost anything. No matter how long you've been doing this, you're never too old to experiment, and you're never too professional or into your career to experiment and play and discover. I mean, being an artist, even a professional artist, is always about discovery. All right, so check this out. So this area of my studio is really cool. This is kind of where I have, you know, all the paint organized on this side, and I've got some, you know, really cool big brushes to make really big paint marks on like paintings like that. I love painting with old house paints. So I get a lot of old house paints with all these different kind of unique dark colors, and I paint with house paint. And I also use, check this out, I use these little jars of paint that you get. They're called Oops paints at the hardware store. I love painting with those. Here's a really cool brush that you might find interesting. This is a Japanese ink brush. It's really big, but it makes the coolest marks. Kind of dip it in ink. Looks like a broom. Check this out. It's another kind of cool tool. Some of you may recognize this thing. It's a wire brush. I use this to sort of scrape paint, and these wire brushes are a great creative way to see what you could do with paint. And I'm telling you, if you're an abstract painter and you're not worried about how realistic something looks, you could have the most fun. Because to me, it's about experimenting. I just like doing things that are different. So that's one tool I use. I do have a traditional side where I paint, you know, some things that are super realistic. I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so we are here in yet another part of my studio. So on that side was where I paint. That's my painting wall. This side is kind of my bookshelf side, which I'll show you in a second, and where I just kind of have some of my realistic paintings propped up. So I don't just paint abstract. I started out many moons ago learning how to paint kind of like the old masters and really know how to draw. You can see that this is kind of a self-portrait when I was younger. But I really wanted to learn how to paint right. So I knew the techniques, I knew what I was doing. And then from there, I could take off and explore and do whatever I wanted to do. And this is on canvas. It is oil on canvas. I did it in art school many moons ago. I just kind of have this thing sitting over here, this old painting. Realistic side when I want to do it, and the abstract side when I want to have fun and do something just whimsical and something crazy, just fun, right? So that's what it is to be an artist. You got to experiment, you got to have fun, you got to love it, but you got to do it every day and practice, practice, practice. All right, so I thought I would show you my whole entire studio without me in the way, and you can kind of see where I was standing and what I have going on. So I've got the computer here where I work, and this is sort of my desk and office area. And then there's storage back there where I keep my canvases, all kind of tidy. You know, it's an industrial space. The old paintings, this is where I kind of store everything. And then, of course, I've got, other artwork I'm working on. And if you remember, all the tools, which is really cool. All my paints, I got a lot of them. And then, of course, a stack of paintings over here that you'll kind of see. And then the walls I paint on, and I'll kind of step back. I'm walking back as slow as I can without jiggling too much. And this is where I paint. It's a pretty big space. I mean, this space is really large. And then past the computer is I've put in a little seating and relaxing area. Sometimes I have people come and look at artwork. And if you look at those drawers at the far end, those drawers have a lot of the works on paper, sketches, prints, posters, and things that just need to be in a flat file. Those are like architectural drawers. Back in the day, they would have architectural prints on those things. And then I've got my little library of art books and reading material, my speaker for music. A lot of artists just like their little comfy, relaxing area when they just want to think and be ready to then turn around and work. We spend a lot of time in our studios, we artists, so it's just something you got to make the space, if you can do it, very comfy. You have to have a work area. You have to have a desk these days, especially if you're going to be, online and designing a website. And then you've got to have your little relax area. You've got to have that, a sitting area. Thank you for visiting my art studio. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you find inspiration and learn something from it. But it was really, really cool to share.